Hare Krishna. Welcome back to our online reading retreat labs. So we are continuing with the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, canto number 1. In the last week, we have read till page number 25 of canto number 1 introduction. I'm also reading at the same time online as well as from the hard copy, but I would always recommend to read from the hard copy to get a better experience. If you do not have the hard copy, you can always reach out to me how to order the hard copy. I will help you in that. So let's now, I will read it from the online database as well. So now let me open the database as well. So let me share my screen with you. So we have read in the last session till here in the page number 25, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has proceeded towards South India, and from there he made his talks with Ramananda Roy are very important, so that we are going to read today. So in that context, with that, let's start today's reading from here. Sri Ramananda Roy was a self-realized soul from here. And if you refer your hard copy of the book, it is canto number 1, page number 25. It is the third paragraph. Sri Ramananda Raya was a self-realized soul, although outwardly he belonged to a caste lower than the Brahmana in the social status. He was not in the renounced order of life, and besides that, he was a high government servant in the state. Still, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as a liberated soul on the strength of the high order of his realization of transcendental knowledge. Similarly, the Lord accepted Srila Haridas Thakur, a veteran devotee of the Lord coming from a Mohammedan family. And there are many other great devotees of the Lord who came from different communities, sects, and scats. Yes. The Lord's only criterion was the standard of devotional service of the particular person. He was not concerned with the outward grace of a man. He was concerned only with the inner soul and its activities. Therefore, all the missionary activities of the Lord are to be understood to be on the spiritual plane. And as such, the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the cult of Bhagavad Dharma who has nothing to do with the mundane affairs, sociology, politics, economical development, or any such sphere of life. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the purely transcendental urge of the soul. When he met Sri Ramananda Raya on the bank of the Godavari, the Varnashram Dharma followed by the Hindus was mentioned by the Lord. Sri Ramananda Raya said that by following the principles of Varnashrama Dharma, the system of 4 castes and 4 orders of human life, everyone could realize transcendence. In the opinion of the Lord, the system of Varnashrama Dharma is superficial only, and it has very little to do with the highest realization of spiritual values. The highest perfection of life is to get detached from the material attachment and proportionately realize the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The personality of Godhead recognizes a living being who is progressing in that line. Devotional service, therefore, is the culmination of the culture of the all knowledge. When Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared for the deliverance of all fallen souls, he advised the deliverance of all living entities as follows. The Absolute Personality of Godhead, from whom all living entities have emanated, must be worshipped by all their respective engagements, because everything that we see is also the expansion of his energy. That is the way of real perfection, and it is approved by all bona fide acharyas, past and present. The system of Varnashrama is more or less based on moral and ethical principles. There is very little realization of the transcendence such as such, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected it as superficial and asked Ramananda Rai to go further into the matter. Sri Ramananda Rai then suggested renunciation of fruitive actions under the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 9.27 advises in this connection. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give, as well as whatever you perform in penance, offer to me alone. This dedication on the part of the worker suggests that the personality of Godhead is a step higher than the impersonal conception of the Varnashrama system. But still, the relation of the living being and the Lord is not distinct in that way. The Lord therefore rejected this proposition and asked Ramananda Rai to go further. Rai then suggested renunciation of the Varnashrama dharma and acceptance of devotional service. The Lord didn't approve of this suggestion also for the reason that all of a sudden one should not renounce his position, for that may not bring in the desired result. It was further suggested by Rai that attainment of spiritual realization, freed from the material conception of life, is the topmost achievement for a living being. The Lord rejected this suggestion also because, on the plea of which such spiritual realization, much havoc has been wrought by unscrupulous persons. Therefore, all of a sudden, this is not possible. The Raya then suggested sincere association of self-realized souls and hearing submissively the transcendental message of the pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This suggestion was welcomed by the Lord. This suggestion was made following in the footsteps of Brahmaji, who said that the personality of Godhead is known as Ajita, or the one who cannot be conquered or approached by anyone, but such Ajita was also becomes Jita, conquered by one method, which is very simple and easy. The simple method is that one has to give up the arrogant attitude of declaring oneself to be God himself. One must be very meek and submissive and try to peacefully by lending the ear to the speeches of the transcendental self-realized soul who speaks on the message of the Bhāgavata Dharma, or the religion of glorifying the Supreme Lord and his devotees. To glorify a great man is a natural instinct for living beings, but they have not learned to glorify the Lord. Perfection of life is attained simply by glorifying the Lord in association with a self-realized devotee of the Lord. The self-realized devotee is he who surrenders unto the Lord fully and who doesn't have attachment for material prosperity. Material prosperity and sense enjoyment and their advancement are all activities of ignorance in human society. Peace and friendship are impossible for a society detached from the association of God and his devotees. It is imperative, therefore, that one sincerely seek the association of pure devotees and hear them patiently and submissively from any position of life. The position of a person in the higher or lower status of life doesn't hamper one in the path of self realization. The only thing one has to do is to hear from a self realized soul with a routine program. The teacher may also deliver lectures from the Vedic literatures following in the footsteps of the bygone acharyas who realize the absolute truth. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended this simple method of self-realization, generally known as Bhagavata Dharma. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the perfect guide for this purpose. Above these topics discussed by the Lord and Sri Ramananda Rai, there were still more elevated spiritual talks between the two great personalities, and we purposely withhold those topics for the present because one has to come to the spiritual plane before further talks with Ramananda Rai can be heard. We have presented further talks of Srila Ramananda Rai with the Lord in another book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. At the conclusion of this meeting, Sri Ramananda Rai was advised by the Lord to retire from service and come to Puri so that they could live together and release a transcendental relationship. Sometime later, Sri Ramananda Rai retired from the government service and took a pension from the king. He returned to his residence in Puri, where he was one of the most confidential devotees of the Lord. There was another gentleman of Puri, the name Sikhi Mahiti, who was also a confidant like Ramananda Rai. The Lord used to hold confidential talks on spiritual values with 3 or 4 companions at Puri, and he passed 18 years in that way in spiritual trance. His talks were recorded by his private secretary, Sri Damodar Goswami, one of the most foremost intimate devotees. So we will stop here Tomorrow we will start from the next one, next paragraph. The Lord extensively traveled all over the southern part of India. From this we will start. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.